Coach, with Kalel, just talk a little bit about what you saw from him on film, and did he earn some more carries, or you like the way it's split?
Yeah, I thought the split was pretty good, but he has earned those carries, and he started earning those carries last spring. Kalel has proven to be a very accountable guy, not just within our room, but special teams. There's not a coach in this building that doesn't respect what he's doing and has done. He's obviously a team player moving over from defense. So yeah, he's earned opportunities he's gotten.
Right here, Tony.
And on the other half, I guess my first part is, what did you think of Donovan's evening?
Yeah, I mean, he played hard, he ran hard. There's some, just didn't have the opportunity to maybe crack some of the runs into the second, third level of defense. But yeah, the kid ran hard and played hard, so I wasn't displeased with how hard he played. Just some of the opportunities that Club kind of broke some things, and it just kind of worked out that way.
I guess it just feels, or not feels, it looked like, that's how the eye test looked, but then the advanced numbers sort of back that up as well. Kalel missing tackles, Donovan not, and then not falling forward. I guess, you've seen it from the other side at Ohio State, I guess, what sort of fear did maybe his presence on the field sort of put in you? And is there, like...
Fear of his presence on the field?
Like Donovan, he's the big play guy, right? But maybe he's not as much 4-5-5. That's just not what we've seen, I guess. Okay. Where do you find that balance?
Well, we're just going to keep playing. I don't know. I got to be honest, I don't study it the way you guys do, obviously. But, yeah, we're just going to keep playing. And obviously, he has shown in the past to have some big play guys, you said, and in games previously. And hopefully those will continue to happen for us. And we've all got to play better. We've all got to do a better job. Maybe I got to do a better job of coaching. Maybe he's got to do a better job of finishing off some runs and things like that. But I'm not, use the word fear. I'm not fearful for having him in the game whatsoever. The guy's a leader on this football team. He's one of the definite leaders on our offense. He's proven to be able to make plays in this program, as he's done for many games. And so we're going to expect the same. Just keep playing. So nobody's in a panic of any sort.
Isaiah?
With Donovan, over the years, he seemed kind of more like a guy that needs to get into rhythm. Like he makes his big plays kind of later into games.
Right.
Did you see it that way? And if so, like how do you kind of get him more into rhythm earlier?
Well, I just think we're just going to play the game, and those opportunities will come. I think one of the things that can happen with running backs as you move forward is they're always looking for a big play. And let's say you're known for making big plays, so now all of a sudden it's not happening right away. You start trying to overcompensate to make a big play. Just stay within the structure of what we're doing, and the big plays will come. But just keep playing the game, and I do think the run game is also a softening up process, right? And as the game wears on, hopefully you've been punching, some things start to break open later in the game for guys, and so we're just going to keep playing and kind of go from there.
Right here, Noah.
Obviously, Alex Orgy was involved in the run game a little bit too. How do you think his presence impacts your backs and Donovan?
Well, I think when you have a quarterback and run, that's equating the numbers in the run game, and when you start equating the numbers in the run game, hopefully that'll open up some things for the running backs as well, because now you have to account for someone else. So I think that's an added benefit to our offense. Definitely an added benefit for the running back. Now, does that potentially take some touches away? Certainly, but at the end of the day, we're not here to set records. I'm not worried about all that. We're worried about the end result, and guys just continue to get better, help this program win, help our offense be successful in whatever endeavor that looks like, and at the end of the day, just get wins.
In the back left, Zach.
What are your impressions of Jordan Marshall since he got to campus? What did you make of his fall camp, and what can he bring to your team this fall?
Yeah, I think Jordan's going to be a dynamic football player. He's an excellent player. He's got an unbelievably bright future, I believe. He's smart. The kid studies the game. It's important to him. He has shown throughout camp that he's capable of making plays. Now we just got to get him out there and to make them, and I would hope that we'll be able to get him on the field this weekend.
What's the next step to getting him on the field? Is that him, or is that just?
No, I think it's just opportunity, right? I think we ran 56 plays, something like that. So it's not a lot of plays, and we've already talked about what 3, and I'm sure someone's going to ask about Ben Hall next. So, right, I know what's coming, right? So With that being said, there's 4 guys that I said we ran 56 plays. And so a lot of things are just game situations, right? And where we at in the game and the flow of the game. And, to your question, well, does a guy have to get in the rhythm? Does he got to carry the ball 20 times a game? Well, if he carries at 20, you only had 56, that's very limited for everybody else. So which one do you want here, right? So, but yeah, he's gonna earn his right to get on the field, which he already has. It's just as far as getting him in the time frame within the game and situational stuff. But he's gonna be a great player here. There's no doubt.
On the right hand.
One more on Donovan. What were your conversations like with him after the game? How do you make sure frustration?
Yeah, that was the biggest thing I think with he and I, just full transparency of, he's voted a team captain by his teammates, not the coaches, by his teammates. He's voted somebody that the guys want to follow and they want him to lead. And so with that, if things aren't going as well as you may like them to go, there's certain demeanor and there's a certain way that you still have to present yourself. And frustration, sure, we all get frustrated at times, but you still have a responsibility to lead in a positive manner and just to keep going, because people are going to be looking at you to how do you respond when things aren't maybe going as well as you would like them to go personally. And so we did talk about that, and I'm very happy and pleased with the way he's responded to that. He's like, "No, coach, you got it. You're right." And he's a consummate team guy. And again, there's nobody in this building is worried about Donovan Edwards and what lies ahead for him. He's going to be perfectly fine.
In the back right, Ryan.
You've been here several months now. I guess what have you noticed is the biggest differences recruiting at Michigan compared to Ohio State?
You really won't? No, I'm not.
You say it.
No, I can't. I can't. No, seriously. I don't know if the differences are the right word, because we're all recruiting the same guy. All recruiting the same kids. We're all recruiting the same kids.
Have you had to cater your pitch to prospects a little bit differently than?
No, we've had history of the past few years of running the ball more here, but it just depends what guys are looking for, and I'll say that no, I'm not. We're good. I don't know how to answer that question. I'm going to leave that one alone, because we're going to start going down a rabbit hole we don't need to go. So we're good. But no, we'll recruit the guys that want to be here. How's that? All right.
Come over here to the right, Andrew.
What stands out about Texas's defense and why are you?
Yeah, that's a great question. Very, very, very well coached, and top end players. I obviously I'm studying the linebackers more and the safeties, but the Benda kid and Anthony Hill, their nickel. They got the Taft kid, the safety, running downhill hitting people. So they're a very, very talented team, athletic. Play with a lot of energy. You can tell that they enjoy playing this game and feel good about the scheme that they're running. They feel comfortable and confident in that. High end football team, and so it's going to be a great opportunity and a great test for us to go and perform. And we talk about something's got to tip the scales when the talent's equated, and so we'll figure out what that is. But they had a very, very talented defense and well coached, as I said.
I'm gonna ask you, you want to give me the game plan, you can, but if not,
And I probably wouldn't do that, but
what makes you optimistic that whatever that?
we got good players too. And I'm all respectful for people. When they first got here, said, "Oh my gosh, you got to play Texas, and you got to play this team, and you got to play this team," and well, they got to play us too. It's not like Michigan hasn't had history of success, and there's not like Michigan doesn't have history of having great players and elite players as well. So that's when I can say I'm optimistic, yeah, because we have a really good football team too. We have really high-end players as well that like to play and like the scheme, and the same things that I just said about their defense, I could say about our team. And so now the talent's equated, and we got to figure out how to tip the scales in our favor. And I'm a firm believer, and it goes way back, right? For as long as this game's been played, I would probably like to think is the team that plays the hardest, that plays the longest, and is detail-oriented, right? And fundamentally sound, those are the teams that win. And so that's our job as coaches, to get our players prepared to do that.
Thanks.
Good time for, I got 4 more people on the list, so we're gonna try and work through those. Then we'll bring in Coach John Maurice. We'll start with Charles.
Yeah, it seemed like the offensive line started to find a groove, especially on that final scoring drive, creating some holes. Why do you think that will be, you'll be able to replicate that against Texas?
Well, I think time. It's the first game out, and a lot of new starters working together, and it takes time for that to gel. Some, like I said earlier, in the run game, that's a softening up process. So those guys are all starting to gel more and more, and every single rep they become more comfortable with the guy sitting next to them on either the right or the left, and so hopefully that will continue. But again, we're playing a high-end opponent coming in here too, so we've got to gel fast. I'm still thinking about your question. I'm good looking at you like, all right, you were just trying to stir it up, right? Of course not.
Over on the right here, Charlie.
I was originally going to ask a Donovan Edwards question, but since you brought up Ben Hall, he seems to be someone that everyone talks about. What makes him special? What makes him stand out? And how do you see using him throughout?
Yeah, I wanted to get him in the game. And in full transparency, once again, I failed as a coach to make that happen. And I told him as such. And I've got to figure out ways to get him in the game because he's earned the right to do that. He's had a really, really good summer. As far as training camp goes, he's had a really good past week and a half, 2 weeks, and he deserves opportunities to play. I think that he's hard to get on the ground when he runs vertically. If he's a guy that starts running sideways, he becomes very average, and he knows that. And I'm not saying anything out of turn, so I'm not trying to upset him or his family, but I've told him as such. When he runs downhill vertically at you, he's hard to handle. So we continue to impress upon him to do that. But he's a really good player and has an opportunity to just continue to grow in this offense and build his role. But I'm excited about him as a player and as a young man. And it's always asking how to get better. Matter of fact, I just got a text message when I was walking in to hear about, Coach, you talked about leading. What can I do more to help lead? And so he's always on this quest for knowledge and to get better. So I'm excited about him.
Alejandro.
Sharon Moore has mentioned that a lot of the running game was maybe a block away against Fresno State. When you rewatch that film, does that stand out to you?
It does. And you can say it's a block away, but sometimes it might be a running back make a guy miss or run through it another tackle. So I don't want to put that on one block. It's collective unit, right? And holistically, we're close, and you can see it. And that's the one thing we kept impressing upon during the game is, hey, we're right there. We're right there. Just keep going. Don't get frustrated. Just keep working the process, and it's going to come. And some of them started to hit a little bit later, and so hopefully we'll continue to get better and go from there.
Last question, Angelique.
Tony, did you bring in Jaden Everett? Is he joining your staff?
He is.
And what was it about him that you wanted?
Well, I've known Jaden, I think we're going on 13 or 14 years. This goes all the way back to my days of coaching at Notre Dame when he was a young coach, and I guess that'd make me an old coach, but he came in. I got to know him at that point in time, and we've just stayed in constant contact, and so I think he's a really, really dynamic coach. He's smart. He's detailed. So he brings value, and one of the things that I talk about with our players all the time, my own children and just people in general, that you have to bring value. What value are you bringing to whatever room it is, whatever organization it is, whatever relationship it is? And if you're not bringing value, then why are you here? And he definitely brings value. And he's known Sharon. They go back to, I think, their high school days. So yeah, he brings value, and our players, he's already jumped full steam ahead, and our players love having him around, and he's another set of eyes, and so it's good to have him. He's already bringing value to us.
What value does Fred bring?
Fred? Oh man, where do you start? The guy's only been here for 80 years. No, Fred Jackson was a guy, quite frankly, no one really knows this, but Fred Jackson was a guy that kind of mentored me when I first started. He was coaching here, and I was coaching at Kent State, which was back in 90, my goodness, I'm dating myself, 95, 96. and I met Fred, and he took time with this young guy who was coaching at Kent State that he didn't know. We just happened to have a mutual friend in Vance Bedford who used to coach here, who's used to coach me in college, and he introduced me to this guy, Fred Jackson, who I'd seen on TV. So I was like, man, this, and so I kind of started to try to emulate him in a lot of ways, and he kind of took me under his wing, and here we are, some 27, 28 years later, and to have the ability to still be here and impart a lot of the same wisdoms and to reinforce, I should say, some of the wisdoms and some of the things that he gave to me many, many years ago was unbelievable. You look at our room, I think collectively between Fred and myself, and now we brought Jaden in there, there's something like 90 years, like, anywhere from 85 to 90 years of coaching experience in that room. And so you'd like to think, with that being said, there's a plethora of knowledge for our players to draw from. There's going to be very few things that haven't been seen or done, with that amount of experience on the staff. So hopefully that brings value to our players. But he is a wealth of knowledge. He's probably forgotten more football than most of us will know. But he's got this unbelievable demeanor, kind of like the grandfatherly figure, if you will. But he's got such great energy. I think he's 72 years old. He's got an amazing amount of energy here every single day. Got a smile on his face. He calls a spade, calls it what it is. But I every single day I'm honored to work with him, and I mean that. It's an honor to be able to look at him every day, just like, wow, I'm coaching with Fred Jackson, because I have that much. I hold him in that high of reverence, and I always have. And always will, and so he's synonymous with this university and this football program as far as I'm concerned, and so it's great having him. Absolutely unbelievable having him. See, that's the best tribute I could give the guy, right? So he owes me some money now. So,
Awesome.
What else?
You had
I have one more recruiting question.
I'm sure you do. What do you got? No, don't play it.
Was Jaden with you guys last week, or is this the first week?
He was with us last week. He got here the day we ended training camp. Yeah, that's Saturday afternoon. Then he showed up on Sunday. So, yeah, he showed. So it's been just over a week.
Does Kalel have a max? I mean, in terms of carries, do you kind of?
I think a lot of it's just game situation, how it's going. If someone gets hot, I'm going to try to let them keep going, and have kind of gotten in that groove that you're talking about, right? And just kind of let them eat. And he kind of got into that, and there was an unbelievable 4-play drive that he had there. Obviously, the 2 big runs, but people fail to realize one of the things that Kalel does, and they all do, but Kalel really stood out. If you go back to the play where Orji kept the ball and he got like a 15-yard run, watch how many people ran after Kalel because he carried out the fake. Right, and that's something that people aren't really watching. There's much more to just yards, and he had how many yards per carry. There's so much more that plays into this. And if you go back, and how did they pass protect? Did they pass protect? How did they play without the ball in hand? And that takes zero amount of skill. That's zero amount of skill to play with the ball without the ball. That's strictly effort and want to, and intentional and purposeful behaviors. And that's something that Kalel continues to bring. I think all of our players do, but I just use that one example of one of the things when we start talking about him, and one of the things that makes him so valuable, because he's selfless. And that's not to say that anybody else isn't, but we're talking about him in particularly. But those things stand out. And so to say how many reps is he going to get, how many carries he's going to get, that's a crystal ball. I have no idea. We go into the game, and game situations will transpire and happen, and we just roll with it from there.
He's durable.
He's so far he has been, as far as I know. At least for me, he has been. He hasn't missed anything. But again, I've only been here a week, so we're good.